this set up?
I don't.
Oh, once again, every time. You act surprised, but here it is again. Totally local. After dark, we're gonna hit up all the hot spots and new things to do. Psych, we're quarantined. But this is the all crypto edition. We got Wiggy Woo and Ralph too. Ralph Gould, how's it going?
I'm good. You know, quarantining it up.
You ready to get into some crypto talk? We're gonna.
I've been doing some homework. It is a new language to speak, so hopefully we'll figure out some of that. And I made my first purchase with that. What is the lolly? Is that how you say it? Lolly or whatever?
Yeah, lolly.
So I got like some fractional amount of a Bitcoin for making a purchase. The catalog of stores that actually does it is very, very impressive. Like, it's most of the stuff that everyone shops at, which is kind of interesting.
That's killer, man. That's a great way to spur adoption for sure. Super important.
Yeah, I don't necessarily, like, you create, and this is something we've started talking about, but I definitely want to ask you more about it. Like, you create a wallet there with them, so I still got to kind of figure that portion out and then see how that works. But I was telling Andrew this couple months ago. Like, I was using like the Ebates, the Rakuten, and some of those other things just to get money back when you're purchasing. So why not get Bitcoin back? And see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's real money.
Well, fucking hey, that's what we're talking about here. Real money.
But I think the big thing that, and I definitely want you, like, at some point, as we go through this, figuring out the whole wallet thing, right? So I have a wallet with them. I set up a Gemini account. I got a wallet with them. Like, what the hell do you do with all the wallets? and can you like move them all? Like, how you move them around and trade?
Absolutely.
Like that,
So let's start at the beginning. What's with all the wallets, Jimmy? What's with all the wallets? Let's start.
Yeah, the wallet thing is crazy.
Well, it's great. It's great that you mentioned that, because I actually had someone today that's a good friend of mine that didn't even realize that they needed, so they didn't even realize that they needed a hardware wallet. So basically all a wallet is, just like in normal, like when the internet or computers were just starting to come around, they have these analogs or analogies for things to help you understand. So like on the computer, it was the desktop, and it was like this little office environment, but it was virtual. It wasn't real. So basically a wallet, all it is a spot to store your money, and you could have multiple different wallets, just like how you could have a physical bunch of different wallets, right? They're just like bank accounts that you control. So it's important, because when you're dealing with Bitcoin, the money becomes your responsibility. So if you do something messed up or send it to a wrong wallet or something, it's kind of gone forever. There's no one to bail you out in that instance. There's no FDIC insurance or any of these things. So you have to be super responsible with what you're doing, because it's on you. You're in control of your money. Yeah. And so there's different levels of
Gemini isn't Gemini doing they're backing up to like $200,000, like they're guaranteeing up to a certain amount now, right? They're forming an FDIC, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know a lot of details on that. When I first joined Gemini, it was just on the cash side. So if you were trading and you were in cash, your money was insured. If it was on if you had it in Bitcoin, it was not. But I think you're right. They're developing some insurance fund, and that's really important to understand. Is that even though people don't really understand what's going on with this at this stage, you have to know that there are companies that are spending literally billions of dollars building out the infrastructure of how this is going to be unfolding into the future, because they understand really how it works and they've been in the space for a really long time. So yes, for that, Gemini. Yeah. So with the wallets, here's the deal. Like, you could have different levels of security based on, there are things called hardware wallets, which it's almost like a USB flash drive that you would plug into your computer. And the value of that is that if your computer's compromised, hackers can't like get into the hardware wallet from your computer. There's a protection level of protection there where they can't get at it.
What if you lose?
Well, yeah, that's the
okay. Yep. Here's another thing. So when you set up your hardware wallet, you're gonna either create or have a seed phrase, which is a string of like 24 words that will enable you to rebuild the wallet. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing to realize is that the money is actually on a public ledger. Like, it's a decentralized computer system protocol that's all over the world at any given instant, with a whole network of decentralized computers that are securing the network. So your coin is actually on that public ledger. The way you access it is through your wallet, and all that is a key pair, a private and a public key. Right. So that's how I would send you money, Ralph. If you'd be like, all right, my wallet address, my public wallet address is this string of letters and numbers, and I'd be able to send you Bitcoin there. If I wanted to access or move my coins around, I would need to have the private key, or say I send it to you. If you want to do something with it, you need to have the private key to that public key.
Yeah, I mean, a lot like how encryption works, I mean, the public-private key. But I started taking Princeton has a free course on Bitcoin.
Awesome.
It starts out, though, with the first thing they tell you to read is like a 300-page, almost 400-page PDF. So I'm maybe like, I don't know, 20 or 30 pages in, but they break down sort of like the history of it. But I really haven't gotten past the part of like the beginning, and then what you're talking about on the ledger. That's kind of like right where the point I'm at right now.
Right on.
But it does give you a good deal of info. I mean, about how that works. So if all of these things let you have the hard wallet, then theoretically, wherever I'm making quote unquote the Bitcoins, or getting them, I can have them on my hard wallet and then move them wherever I want to. Absolutely.
Yep. Even they have things called paper wallets. Like in the early days before, like hardware wallets they've only been around a few years. Like in the beginning, they didn't exist. People just kept this stuff like on their computer, like in a folder. You know what I mean? Their keys. Like in the beginning, people didn't really realize what this was. They couldn't have realized what it would become, even though it was designed to do what it's actually doing right now. It was hard for people to understand that, especially your everyday people, where their friend just told them, "Hey, this is the new thing," or they read it there was a Wired magazine article back in the day that people read and were like, "Whoa, what is this?" And then they would look into it. And a lot of people got into it because they were just geeking out on their computer, and they were like, "Oh, I could run this software to protect this network, and like every so many minutes, every 10 minutes, it would create more Bitcoin as a reward for doing the computing power." And, in the beginning, you could do it on like a CPU, right, on your laptop. But like now it's gotten so sophisticated. They have the application-specific integrated circuits, these ASIC chips that do the job instead of like on a computer. Like it's our software. It's like all on the chip, like doing it. It's like highly sophisticated operations with like millions and millions of dollars invested in this stuff.
What about those people that say it's like ridiculous and like bad for the environment, and like the processing power it takes, the amount of energy is like blah blah blah? Is that all true?
Well, what it does consume energy, but if you think about it, like where is your energy coming from? If someone's running a mining farm backed up to a solar farm, or if it's like hydroelectric.
True.
Or there's instances where that you have hours of like in power generation, you have like times where like there's excess energy that's not getting used, and it's just getting burnt. Whatever, however, if it's coal or whatever they're doing, it's just not getting used, so it's getting burned up into nothing. So if you co-locate your mining farms like near these places where there's excess energy, when they could siphon off energy that's not being used for that. But yeah, I mean, it does take up power, that's for sure. But it's just like anything. It's like, just to get the electricity in our homes, like, is it worth it to have that modern day technology?
Who's making the coins? Like, can you is it like
South Korea seems to be huge on a little bit of research. South Korea seems to be one of the big players and the pictures of their farms are like these crazy massive warehouses where it's just racks and racks and racks of computers that are sort of just free forming, and you can swap parts out like on the fly so they never go down and stuff like that. I mean, they're pretty intense.
I mean, to put that much of an effort into something, it's like you can't just
Yeah.
Check out this chip, baby.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Why don't you plug it in and get it going, bro?
This thing runs up to 19 GPUs. This is the motherboard of all motherboards. I got into the mining game back in 2017, because when you get interested in something, you just like kind of like, oh, what is this like? And you get excited, you want to learn and like figure it out hands-on. I'm a type of hands-on guy. And my buddy was getting into mining, and I was into the coin for what it stood for as far as sound money goes, because it's a decentralized, like it's not issued like by any government or anything. It's decentralized. It's unconfiscatable. It's like this. It's this experiment that got released into the wild, and it's real. It's happening every day. Like today, it was like one Bitcoin's worth like $6,800 or something as of today. Anyway, I got into it, but what happens is the market crashed, so it became so expensive to mine the coin. I wasn't even able to mine Bitcoin. I was doing GPU mining, so I'd have to mine other coins and then convert them into Bitcoin. But it became so expensive to run my miner that it didn't even make sense to do it anymore. So I luckily pieced it out. Like I sold the GPUs and like the various components. That's like one of the last pieces.
But you can't let it can't crash, right? Like if it crashes, you're not able to like mine again. Like they're very big on that. Like you can't mine again.
No, that's not true for GPU mining. Like if your computer, because you'll get like a piece of software that someone writes to mine a specific coin using the GPUs, like but like if the computer crashes, like you're just basically not mining. Like the average person, like if I want to do it, I have to join a mining pool. So they combine all the hashing power together, and then like they pay you out based on like a balance of like how much hash power you have.
You remember SETI at home? Search for
exactly.
Like it's like that kind of thing that I was thinking about that when they were talking about like needing more processing power even to figure out the coronavirus stuff. Like SETI at home figured it out. That there's a way to do it. They actually SETI just said they're done. Like we're done. We're done with that whole program. And that was running for like 20 years on screensavers. I mean, that thing is crazy.
No more SETI at home.
Exactly. There are miners actually now using their hashing power to work on coronavirus. My buddy's using some of his hash power for that. He sounds like his basement sounds like there's like a jet taking off. It's like it's like crazy, and the heat that it kicks off is insane. Yeah, but yeah, it's just the computing power is like it's I mean that's on the side that I'm not as like I'm not on that side of it as much, but I had it set up where if my computer crashed, it would restart and it would just start running the software like automatically. Like
wow,
and it was like all linked in that way. My buddy gave me a script, so it was like everything. It would control the Windows and like restart the computer, restart the script, like hook me up to the mining pool. It was like all automated. It was really cool because it was frustrating for a while. Like I couldn't get it to work. Everything wasn't running right. And I was constantly messing with it.
So how do you, so you said something interesting though too. How do you take other coins and That's the other interesting thing to me. Like you could buy other coins and then sort of you want to keep buying into just Bitcoin or
right. All right. So there's a lot of different, there's a lot of different philosophies on this thing, but what I think it boils down to, because there are certain coins that have specific functions. Some of them are,
right.
simple.
Ethereum's one of them that seems to be like, that's the Elon Musk one, the Ether. Am I saying it right?
Ethereum.
Ethereum.
Yeah. So that, all right. So that was so Bitcoin was the original one. And then like this other coin came out called Litecoin. And then Ethereum was the next big one to come out. And the thing that made Ethereum like so great was this guy Vitalik Buterin. He was like this young tech guy that was studying Bitcoin, and he was like, I want all this other functionality. So in what Ethereum does is they have these smart contracts. So you could have contracts like that you enter into that like are basically, you can't like, it's like binary. Like if this happens, then this is going to happen. If they do this, then like they get paid in this coin, like certain things, which Bitcoin, it could have had that functionality, but it didn't, because they were more concerned with not introducing bugs. So like they were wanting to keep it really simple and like not like they move really slow. Like the people that are involved, it's open source with Bitcoin, so anyone could work on it. But to adopt new things into the base layer, it's like really, it's not like they're just going to try new things every week. So this kid wanted to like, he's like, I want this, this, and this. So he basically started Ethereum. So he calls it the world. He wants it to be like the world computer, where it's just like able to do all this functionality that Bitcoin just isn't set up to do at this point. But yeah, that's another.
Is that what Skynet's going to start from? Skynet's going to start from Ethereum.
Maybe, probably.
Computer. Yeah.
It'll start from FedCoin.
Oh man, are they actually making something called FedCoin?
Oh yeah, they're talking about it and everything. But the beauty, the ethos of like how this all began was these people. They were called cypherpunks. They were just like, they'll get like, if the Fed comes out with the coin, it's never going to be as good as like the people that are passionate and like the real heads that are into this stuff. Like I follow this guy on Twitter, Nick Ops, and he's just like this like Grateful Dead hacker guy. Like he's like this computer genius. But they'll never, because of what Bitcoin represents, even if they make a coin, it will probably be hacked, like by the people that are smarter than the people that made the Fed coin. It just will. And that's a big problem. A lot of this is why, going back to the wallets, it's really important. There's a big saying in the community. It says, not your keys, not your coins. So like the keys are what enable you to use your wallets. And like, if you don't have control of the keys, especially the private key specifically, you don't have control of your coins. So if someone hacks an exchange, which there's this whole crazy story, like it's like a fiction novel about this exchange in Canada called Quadrina X or whatever. It's like this whole drawn out story of this guy. They think that he faked his death, and he was the only one that had the keys, and like they want to exhume his body and stuff. But he basically like the people that had their coins on this exchange, when that dude died and he had all the info in his head or wherever he had it buried or written down, like no one knows, but like they lost access to their keys and no one could get the coins off the exchange. So there's a whole lawsuit. They're like suing them and stuff. So you want to have, that's why you want to have control of your keys, because if an exchange gets hacked, like Coinbase, which is a very popular exchange, I'm sure it's very secure, whatever. If that gets hacked and they steal the coins, they are gone. Like they're gone as if they were physically there, and now they're gone. And
Coinbase, I can't finish that sign up process for the life of me. Like,
they've made it hard. They kicked me out too, so.
It's ridiculous. It refuses to take my credit card. Gemini was so damn easy. Andrew told me about Gemini. He's like, well, if you can't get on that one, try this one. And it took me like 20 minutes and I was done.
Dude, I tried quite a few of them, and it was not easy. And I was just like, You guys win. Winklevoss twins. Like, kudos.
It's so
Yeah.
You got the lowest common denominator. Like, I couldn't figure any of the other ones out. Go for
Well,
you.
yeah, that's such a great testament to just like how this industry is evolving and how it's like a real free market. Like, hey,
It
they
is
suck. I'm going over here. You know what I mean? Too bad. Now I'm over here.
It is a little nerve-wracking, although I do recommend it, is to like play with the coins and like transfer them around and figure out how like the two different like codes work as far as sending and receiving and shit like that. Do it in like tiny increments. That's what I did because I was.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. I do want to get one of the hardware pieces, but that's what I'm hoping to do with the lowly thing, is to try to move those, because it's so incredibly small. It doesn't, it's nothing at this point. But
right.
Online shopping now, like some of them are doing like 20% return of your purchase in coins.
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
Some of them are doing 5%, and some are doing like 0.5%. But the list is I was amazed at the number of companies that, like Walmart, like you can go to Walmart and you can get coins back.
So if you use them, do they set you up with some kind of like an online wallet or some shit?
Yeah, so you go to I started all of this by first getting that Brave browser, and I'll ask you about that in a second. But you sign in. It's very much like Ebates. They make it very simple. You create they give you that code that you're talking about. You have to match the 27 words or whatever. You create your wallet. Once you do that, when you want to go to purchase from a site, you have to go down the list and you click on shop here, and it says, okay, it's turned on now. And then you just shop and it automatically happens. I bought stuff from Michaels. I bought some arts and crafts from Michaels. Wow. And I got as soon as the purchase went through, I got an email that says, boom, there's your coins. And that was it. You don't have to do anything else. Now,
I love it.
I don't know how to transfer it or what the hell to do with it or anything just yet. Yeah. But it was that easy. Like, it really wasn't.
I did something stupid. I bought Bitcoin or something on the Robinhood app, and like you don't actually have access to. It's not like you have a wallet and you could take that Bitcoin and move it elsewhere. You can't. It's like it contained in there, and they have this whole like, sorry, blah blah blah, whatever bullshit that they can't do it at this time. And I didn't realize that when I bought it. It's like there, so I own Bitcoin like in dollars. Like I don't own it in actual Bitcoin because I can't move it. So
yeah, not good.
Yeah, I bought it at a bad time, and still waiting to recoup on that one. So we're just gonna.
The other thing that I need to figure out with it that's a little weird is they tell you like use it in your browser, download it on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
But does that mean two separate wallets? And some of the things like the Brave browser, and I do want to ask you about those BAT things because those sound very interesting, those basic attention tokens. But it seems like right now they're all having problems with ways to sync it so you can sign into one account. You don't have to keep creating like multiple wallets.
Right. So you're using MetaMask, right, inside of Brave? Is it? Yeah, you're probably. I think that that's how it works.
So, yeah, it's just part of it.
It's integrated in. Yeah, that's MetaMask. Like I have it pulled up right here. But yeah, basically, if you're in like MetaMask, that's another similar thing. It's where you in that instance you could open it on your phone or on a different browser or different things just by basically logging in. You're logging into MetaMask, and it's like providing a layer of functionality for you to do. They
just recently announced though that they stopped the syncing features, so it's not working at the moment. They have a bug and they're working on it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, see, this is all happening in real time, so like you'll have that sort of stuff. That goes back to like, all right, well, which is the best coin? Like, is it Bitcoin? Like, is it this other coin? And like, my own personal opinion is that like Bitcoin was, when it happened, like no one knew what it would become. You know, I mean, barring the people that were involved in the very like core, like people that were like, oh my God, we finally solved this problem, which was called the double spend problem. Like, how could you have something that's digital and also make it scarce? And so it was like, it's called the Byzantine generals problem. So like, they figured out how to prevent double spending, and that's the whole like the protocol of Bitcoin. That's what it does. Like if it's a public ledger, and if you make a transaction, that's it. Like you can't then like take it back and redo the transaction with someone else. You know, it's all recorded and matched up by all these people. So, but that was like no one knew what it would become. But once it like became something of value, like once it was over $1 and then it was $100 and it was fluctuating, all these other people are like anything, like, oh, I can make it better. Like I'm going to make my version. And like, instead of being like a decentralized open source thing, like people's egos got involved and they were like, no, like, and they like the thing with Bitcoin, it's like it's given out to the world. Like it's just a thing out there. There's no one really in charge of it. It's just like a group. We're all coming together being like, yes, we see the protocol. We know it's working and we're all going to trust that we don't have to trust each other. But like with these other coins that have come out since, it's all ego driven, and the people are like, I'm gonna make the best coin, and then they do things where they pre-mine coins where they're like, oh, we'll take off, like we'll mine a bunch of coins and then release it to the public, so now we have a stash of coins. That's why you see stuff with like XRP, which I don't even think is like a real crypto. It's like they made all these, it's like a database. They just made all these coins and now they're just selling them to get money, which is basically an unregistered, unlicensed security. I don't know how they're getting away with that.
Is the basic authentication token, which I've just started reading about a little bit, like the thing that you do in Brave, is that, I mean, it's like the guy that created JavaScript and all these other, you know, like it's some pretty smart people that put that together. And for all
definitely.
For all the times we go onto YouTube or watch things, it seems like why not give something back? But it obviously isn't really like, hasn't blown up or taken off too much. Like there's not I haven't been able to earn anything. I've been trying repeatedly to like find things that you can earn, but some of them are some really sketchy sites. They're like, hey, they have a list of like, here's the people you can earn from, but they're like really some sketchy sites that I don't even know how it works. Like it doesn't seem to churn anything yet. So
exactly. So see, that's the problem at the end of the day. Like if everyone comes up with their own coin, like, and you don't have the adoption, then what good is your coin? You know what I mean? It's just like, and the other problem becomes like the less miners that you have, because that's a big part of it. The less miners you have, like running the software that generates whatever coin you're going to have, like that's a less secure network. Like Bitcoin's so big at this point, it's like you couldn't get enough people to hack it. It wouldn't be financially worth it to like overpower the network with like computing power. But like there was one Ethereum Classic. A lot of these have forked, like which means like the people part ways and they like just create a copy. Yeah, they start their own based on a copy of it, you know. And it's happened with Bitcoin too in the past. There's like there are these points in history where people can't agree. They're like, oh, make the block size bigger. No, we don't want it bigger. And then they're like, well, we're going to make our own coin. And then they'll like fork, you know, and like,
so what do you use? Like, I noticed that Gemini doesn't have nearly as big of list of coins as say Coinbase. So,
right.
How do you, so I guess to what Andrew is saying about moving them around a little bit, like if you're working on some other coins, you might have to have a couple of exchanges to get into to get them all to, I don't know, all to Bitcoin or to one thing or something.
Yeah, exactly. So like, for example, it was amazing. The person that got me into it, like, I was like, all right, like I had like done a bunch of research and like I watched all these documentaries on YouTube. And like one day I just jumped up in my living room and my son and my brother Rob were there. And I was like, guys, I was like, this is it. Like, this is exactly what I've been like searching for. Like, this is the reason I was out there during Occupy Wall Street. Like, this is what we need. Like, because we're not going to get anywhere like marching in the streets. I'm like, this is the actual thing right here. I'm like, we need to get as much as we can. So I told my friend, I'm like, I want some. He's like, all right, well, you know, he's like, I could just send you some, just deposit. He had a TD bank account. He's like, go to any branch because they're everywhere. Just deposit money in there and I'll send you the Bitcoin. So like I was kind of nervous too. Like I just like went to the bank, deposit money, and I'm like, all right, I did it. And I sent him the picture of the deposit slip. And literally like 2 seconds later, I look at my phone and there was like Bitcoin in my phone. I was like, whoa. Like, because if you've ever used like ACH or any way to move money around or like do a wire transfer, it's like so convoluted. And I was like, holy shit. Like I just had money over there and now I have money over here. And like, it was crazy because when I got involved, it was literally Bitcoin had been going along. And then it hit the curve where it was like, it went literally from when I got into it was like $1,500 to like by like less than a year later, it was at $20,000 a coin. It was insane. So I was like, oh my God. Like I was like, so just, there was just so much like happening at once. But anyway, back to your question, it's like once you move it around a little and like play with it, like Andrew said, and see how it works, like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like I could send this money anywhere to anybody at any time. No one could stop me. No one could turn PayPal off or close my account, which is like happened to me when I had a dispute with this woman I was working with. I had a contract. I did video editing and I sent the contract. She did a chargeback on PayPal. And they like closed my account, but luckily I took the money out, but they said I owed them all this money. I was like, no way. And I'm like, I have a contract. I sent all the stuff into PayPal and they're like, well, no, Visa ruled against you and in favor of their client. I'm like, but I'm your client. What are you talking about? It was just so backwards.
Are you guys actually buying stuff with it? Like, are you using it as currency to buy things?
I haven't bought anything with it.
I do it specifically because you want it moving, like you want it moving around. So like 2 weeks ago, I bought silver, like physical silver. And like there was an option to pay in Bitcoin. I was like, oh, hell yeah. Because every time you transact in that, then you're promoting the adoption of it, you know, and more it's being distributed. Because like, yeah, people get it from miners or exchanges, but like each transaction is getting more and more distributed around the world and into people's hands, which is like super important. And there's just a term, it's called buy and replace. So like when you buy it, you just replace, you go into Coinbase or wherever and buy some more to replace the cash that you.
So basically, but Coinbase is the one. Coinbase is the one you should be in.
No, not really. I just use like I don't even use Coinbase, to be honest with you. They've something called Coinbase Pro. So like Coinbase is like the Fisher Price, like where it's so simple. It's like 2 buttons. That's like
where I'm at. I'm like, this is great. I love this. Look at those lines. They go up and they go down.
Yeah, so
you can't get more sophisticated though.
Yeah, like if you want to actually trade it and not like have like so many fees that it becomes like not worth trading, like you would go to Coinbase Pro. But it's just because like I have Gemini account, I have Coinbase Pro, I have other ones, like, you know, there's ones all over the world like Binance and shit. So
yeah, I've been looking at Binance a little bit, but I guess I gotta just keep trying this Coinbase thing before to see if I can ever get on there.
Dude, fuck Coinbase. You don't need to be on there. You don't have to fuck with Coinbase, dude.
I get to the point where it says we're gonna put a monetary amount into your bank account. You have to fill that in to verify the numbers. So the last time I did it, they just say, okay, it says they automatically have like $1, and then you have to put the change amount.
Right.
One of them was $2. I couldn't change the 2 part. Like I can't get past.
They don't want you. Your money's no good here, Ralph.
That is the singular point I can't get past. Is
fuck those people, man.
They do in the account never shows up and matches, so I can never get verified.
I mean, all you need. You have Gemini. You don't really need like. Unless do you think are you gonna go Gordon Gekko with this shit, Ralph?
Well, if I try,
like the eye of the tiger, Ralph.
Like, let's say I finally figure out how to get a bat token of some sort. You know, like I finally watch something that pays me. Like, how do I move that into Bitcoin?
You gotta transfer it bat to bat, and then you gotta transfer bat to
Bat's not on Gemini.
Well, there's the rub.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, I guess that's figuring it out.
You could, eventually it'll all be integrated. Just keep a bat.
Yeah, there's all right. So what's gonna happen? There's something called atomic swaps.
Oh,
like so, like it'll eventually.
It's like a funk song.
That would be a good song. Eventually, everything will be seamless, like that lolly, where you're like, "Oh, I just did it and it worked." Like there are people, like I said, the industry is being built up. Like there's huge infrastructure being built. So like these atomic swaps are like integrated into everything. There's an actual coin. It's called Chainlink, and I haven't looked a lot into it, but basically the idea, it's one of the few that has a crazy bullish chart, whereas most have the same chart, like for all the coins in terms of BTC. But like that Chainlink one, like, I don't know much about it. All I know is it price go up. Like it's like a very strong coin, but I think the premise is that it's going to be used to be able to like link between all the different cryptos that are out there. Because at the end of the day, like the reason I'm just like, all right, BTC is the one is because everything else is going to be denominated in that. Like almost that will be the world crypto reserve currency that everything settles back to. And then you'll have different coins. Like there's a Pepsi coin and stuff. So in those ecos, yeah.
There was going to be a Wu-Tang coin, right? I mean, like just like they're doing, just like they're, people are doing vodka and like strains of pot and stuff like that. Like they're going to do the same thing for cryptocurrency.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like it gets ridiculous, but also at a certain level, it's a good use of like, for like mileage rewards or different things, like to be able to transact this quickly and like securely, it makes sense to use the technology for some things, not everything. But
I'll be able to transfer my Pepsi coin into Bitcoin someday.
Yeah, of course.
Sweet.
What's Bitcoin Cash then? What's the difference between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash?
Different. It's a fork.
Yeah, it's a fork. So like luckily I was a part of that time period. So I was holding Bitcoin at the time of the snapshot and it forked. And all this Bitcoin Cash is, it's basically they plays with Bitcoin based on the size of like the blocks they wanted to have.
Wait, say that again.
Yeah,
you
froze
again.
up. You cut out there.
Up for a second.
Sorry. Bitcoin Cash is just a fork. So like the people, there was a disagreement in the community, and like in order to move forward, like people agreed like we're gonna go this way and you're gonna go that way, and like they just went separate ways. So normally each block, they're called blocks. Like when they get mined, like basically all these miners are just solving these cryptographic math problems, and whoever solves them the quickest gets the reward. And it happens every 10 minutes in Bitcoin. So like they're the size of the blocks are 1 megabyte. So all the transactions that happen during that period of time, they all get recorded and then they get appended to the block before it. That's why it's called a blockchain. Yeah. And so then it gets appended to the block before it, and then it gets put back into the network. So then all the other computers say, all right, and they like, use their computer minds and be like, all right, this all matches up. It's good. And they get the green light and whatever. So
in the Princeton course, they say when you're to make it like easier to explain, they broke down all of that, how it's the ledger and how it follows the multiple documents to see. But they said basically the simplest way is to say it's figuring out a puzzle. And the faster you can figure out the puzzle, it's like a mathematical puzzle, but the faster you figure out that puzzle, and so I'm trying to get through that to because it seems like the for the layman such as myself, like, like the way people describe it or talk about it isn't easy enough yet. I don't know, right. It doesn't seem to be like someone's come up with a way to describe it where everyone's like, oh, that makes sense, like, oh, right. That was easy,
Totally. But it's also like, it always reminds me of things like I used to sell this water treatment technology that was using like electricity to create an electromagnetic field. And like every time, like even though we had reports and like things of like it, like field use, like this is what it does to your water to treat it, they always wanted to know how it worked. And it's just like, like I'm not like a physicist. Like I could explain the basic principles, but they're like, but why? But why? I mean, and I feel like you have that a lot with new technology until you get to a level where people don't even think about it. It's just happening in the background, kind of like the internet, right? Do people really like sit there being like, well, what's the TCP/IP stack? Like, why is it? What's it doing? You know, it's like, no, I'm gonna go online, watch
people
YouTube.
ask me that all the time about computers. They're like, do you really want me to break down how this works?
What's up, guys?
Cash wealth, if you want to say it, and they're moving it. Like really huge names. Like when you look up some of these guys that are like the billionaires of the world, they're starting to slide some stuff over that way while this is going on.
It makes sense. I mean, if you like follow like what money is or the petrodollar or our money supply, like if you see what's happening, especially right now, there's never been a better time like for Bitcoin. This is like what's happening now in our economy and everything is so bullish for Bitcoin because they're just basically printing trillions and trillions of dollars. Like, and like at a certain point, like all that debt is going to come due. You know, I mean, like can't just keep printing money forever. It's never worked in the history of money. So like to have something that's scarce that you could put money into that holds value is like, I mean, it's amazing because no one controls it. No government could shut it off. No one could come and confiscate your Bitcoin. I mean, they can't. You know, it's just numbers.
Why aren't there more? I thought they started like putting out like Bitcoin ATM machines and stuff like that. Like, didn't that sort of in places that would accept it in payments in cities to sort of try it? Didn't that sort of die a little bit though?
Like bubble pop, the people got scared.
No, not really. You see, I mean, like you see more Bitcoin ATMs every day, like getting put in places and stores and different places. I mean, it's kind of it's the weird. This is the weird thing about Bitcoin, right? So like, there is no like no one's out there active. Like if you think about any other company, you know, they have a forward facing like kind of image and brand and they're trying to sell you stuff. They're advertising and they're like marketing and PR. Like with Bitcoin, there's none of that. It's just grassroots from the ground up. Like obviously people want to help their friends or whoever, but no one's out there evangelizing for it. So like if you walk past a Bitcoin ATM, you're like, oh, what's that? Oh, look, a Bitcoin ATM. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, what I've read in different articles I've read, the most of those get used for is like scams where someone will scam you on the phone and they'll be like, yeah, you have to pay me in Bitcoin. I got nudes. And then they send them to the fucking Bitcoin ATM and like, you know, store owners are like, no, don't do it. It's a scam. Like, and they believe the scammer on the phone. Next thing you know, their money's in the machine. The Bitcoin, the wallet that they sent it to isn't theirs. It's some other guys. And like,
well, they showed it. There was a show on Vice where there's like a guy who exchanges Bitcoin and you just kind of like meet him on the street and he does it on the phone. Like the whole thing seemed so like they did it where they blacked out his face and everything, you know, that one of those kind of things.
Yeah, his voice, he's like, oh,
no. He just
record now.
He just went someone wanted to transfer money and he had coins to sell. So it's like he verifies who you are and then like, you know, you go sit on the street somewhere and have some pizza with them and he does the whole transaction right there on his phone, and then flips away into the night kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much exactly what I did with my friend. He was in another state, but he did that for a while. That's how this all got going. Actually, it was like peer to peer. Like the original white paper that was written about Bitcoin, it was a peer to peer electronic currency, cash. And that's how it was designed.
Yeah, I read that part. That's like one of the first things they talked about, how it actually, because they had tried DigiCash and all that other stuff back in the day that didn't work, and then it just sort of died for a while.
Yeah, like eGold, like the government like shut that shit down. The reason Bitcoin worked was because there was no one to go after. It was just unleashed, running on people's computers. And since it was decentralized, it's like they couldn't go around like everyone's house, like turn that off. I'm gonna delete that software. You know what I mean? It's just impossible.
What was eGold?
It was like someone was trying to basically set up like a sound money system, like where it was like and I never really delved too deep into it. It's just like something I've like heard about and how it got shut down. But yeah, like it was like a website where supposedly you could like get these digital tokens of gold, and there was like actual gold backing it up, and it was getting to be popular, I guess.
Jimmy just said it before though. The problem with the other ones was the double pay. Is that what it was?
Double spend, probably.
The doubles, like they didn't work on that part, and they didn't have the encryption part, so it got shut down because people were basically using it twice and 3 and 4 times and stuff like that. That was sort of the thing that wasn't figured out.
And here we are.
It's pretty interesting. I'll send you guys like the PDF document, because go through it or don't go through it. But the first couple pages are very interesting about the stuff that they tried to do. And then it literally like lost interest, and this amount of knowledge was just kind of floating around, sitting there until whatever that dude's name is, the guy that created it, and nobody knows who he is, like until he sort of started talking about it amongst his friends and saying, hey, I think I came up with it, like that kind of thing. And got a little bit of peer feedback, on what he was working on, and they were like, "Oh my God, you did it, guy! Yeah, like you did it. That's the thing." Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And anyone that ever like came across the white paper or in those forums, it's called BitcoinTalk.org. Like that's where the original people originally like, and it's still, that board's still up there today. People still use it. But yeah, they were like, "Oh my God!"
All the things that he put on it, or he wrote on it, is gone. I think you have to go to like the Wayback Machine to find the stuff that he had his information up there, and then like scrubbed himself from the internet, as the story goes, like made sure there was no more. He used to respond to people and talk about it, and then stopped all of that.
Yeah. So actually he was in contact with someone who was like, "Oh, hey, I'm going to talk to the CIA. They want to talk to me about this." Like this guy that was above board and like super like, "Oh, like, yeah, sure." And like, I guess at that point the dude disappeared. He's like, "Delete." Like, I'm out. Because I mean,
I'll see you later.
Yeah, like I'm out, dude. You just like think about it. How many things have you heard, like including like when the FBI raided like Nikola Tesla's fucking laboratory and stole all his shit? Like how many times that happened in history where it's like someone invents something and then they're dead like the next day. You know what I mean? So it's like, luckily the dude was bright enough to figure out how to deal with the double spend problem and also how to dip out. Otherwise he would be a goner.
But you're a strong believer in the hardware wallet, because there seems to be some pushback on that about having the physical. There seems to be a lot of pushback about, and maybe that's just again people trying to prop up their thing, but they're saying that's something that you could lose or get damaged, and they're really talking about keeping them online.
No, dude, that's garbage. Like basically, like if you have your 12, like, so my friend, I gave one to Andrew. It's called a crypto steal. Like you take your 24 seed word phrase and you just buy another. Say I drove over, I melted, like my house burned down and my hardware wallet melted. You just take those 24 words and you enter it into a new hardware wallet, and it'll rebuild the wallet. Even it doesn't even have to be the same brand. Like I could use Electrum or any of these other things, enter my seed phrase, it'll rebuild my wallet and give me access back to my private key.
So that's the thing to do, is to play around, kind of moving this stuff around and see how it all works.
Definitely. You'll love it. There's something I didn't even know about till this past year. You could actually sign transactions. So like within a transaction, you could like put a message inside of there. And like I didn't know how to sign a transaction, but there was this coin this guy came up with. It's called Hex. And what his idea was is like, I'm gonna create this coin, and all it is going to be he came up with this term called pumpamentals. Like, you know, when like the price goes up, it's called pumping. So like he goes, it needs pumpamentals. And so he came up with all this game theory of how it would work and all this stuff. And basically the way you could get this Hex, unless you wanted to buy it, you could actually get it by claiming it if you were a Bitcoin holder at the time of the snapshot. And they developed this software, and it's actually through MetaMask, which is on the Brave browser. But basically or you could get the MetaMask extension for Chrome or whatever. But what you did was you had to sign a transaction from your Bitcoin wallet, and then based on how much Bitcoin you had, it would give you like 10,000 Hex for every Bitcoin you had. And I was like, not so much like, oh, I'm going to get rich off this Hex. I was like, you know what? I really want to, like, I have my Bitcoin sitting on this hardware wallet. I want to actually use this stuff and like just use it and like see how it works and like know about it. Because there's like functionality built into Bitcoin that isn't in like most wallets. Right. Like I had to use a separate wallet, this Electrum wallet that had the signing functionality to sign the transaction. And it was just cool to watch. Like I was like, all right, I got to take this from over here and paste it. And then I looked in the MetaMask, and then boom, I was like, had the Hex in there. I was like, this is so cool. Like, you know, just
have you used the bat feature in the Brave browser? Have you gotten it to generate any tokens for you?
No, I never even messed with the bat. But I mean, that's one, like, I mean, that's one functionality that's like, well, yeah, like I could see that working. There was one called BitTube, like it was called BitTube, and what they were doing, they had this thing called airtime and the airtime extension. So it was basically like the basic attention token. It was like if you were on BitTube watching videos, you would get paid in BitTube. If you were a miner, you got paid in BitTube.
There's a guy that has a YouTube channel, and so I was like, oh, all right, so I just got to go and watch his stuff. But I must be doing something wrong, because it literally shows you a link to it. He's like, and when you hit someone that has it, there's this like little icon comes up, and you can tip the content creator as well. So like you can earn it and also like tip back, I guess, to kind of get it moving, like
yeah.
About. Oh. So I went to the guy's page. He's got 300,000 followers, tons of. It's all gaming stuff. Like I'm not really a gamer, so I don't know too much about it. But I just started watching his. I'm like, yeah, let me watch a bunch of his videos and see if I gain anything. But it didn't. Nothing happened. I don't know. I guess I got to figure out that part still.
Yeah, like, and it's funny. There's so much different cryptos. Like, you can't even follow them all. Like, it's insane. It really is. Like, even with the Hex thing. Like, my friend, I'm like, oh, you're gonna claim your Hex? He's like, nah, dude. He's like, I don't care. I don't have time for this shit. Like, I was like, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, like you have to. Like, how much time? How much actual attention do you have to give to all this stuff? But that's why, like, eventually it will all be integrated into things. Like, there was one which I'm just like, because since my buddy is a miner, he always is like, yo, this is the next thing coming out, man. Because he has to pump his shit because he's mining these coins that are basically worthless, and he's spending electricity and hardware. Like, he bought this thing, it's called the FPGA miner or whatever, which is like, it's the intermediary step between GPU mining and like ASIC miners. The FPGAs, you can actually reconfigure them. With the ASICs, you can't. They can only mine like a certain coin. But like his FPGAs are like, they were like 60 grand or something. There's this whole like cottage industry of like high tech, like high quality hardware developers or these small companies like in the US. Like, whereas like, most shit that's manufactured overseas, it's like mass produced, like get me to me as cheap as possible. Like the shit that these guys are making, it's like cottage industry, boutique, like expensive hardware, like super teched out and like expensive as fuck. But like, so he's mining these coins. He'll tell me, he's like, yo, there's a next coin, there's a next coin. And I just like, I got to the point where I'm like, dude, I can't even like keep up with this anymore, because I realize that it's becoming so diluted that even the speculation level, you can't speculate.
It's too much to follow it all. It's like a overload of information. There was another interesting thing about when they were talking about like hackers and malware on computers, that they were embedding mining inside of YouTube videos. So when you would watch it on your computer, if your computer started to suddenly like, you could hear the fan kicking up and stuff like that, they were like mining through your own computer. Like that stuff's crazy.
Yeah. Botnets, dude. They would hijack and just use a little bit of your CPU, but they'd have these botnets of all this software all over mining. Like they were doing it with Monero, which is a privacy coin. Like there are certain sectors and genres of like coins that like
oh, there you are.
My thing flashed up, my battery's gonna die or something. But there's whole like sectors like that serve specific purposes. So like with Bitcoin, it's easily since it's a public ledger, if people know your public key belongs to you, they'll know that those transactions that go on from that point are all yours. So like, oh, he bought like a dildo or something, you know, like you could trace it. So like they have like privacy coins. They have like privacy coins where like it's a whole different like thing. So like Monero is one of them, or like whatever. Like
it'll have to be one of those. It'll have to be one of those love sets you're gaining Bitcoin while you're using it.
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we can see here you bought toilet paper. Here you bought some groceries.
Bought a cup of coffee.
Here's Delta.
He bought an M16.
Well, that's it. So can they do that? Is it the same thing where your habits and buying thing and all of that is it still not your information? Someone else is collecting it, what your activity is with Bitcoin?
Well, no one's really collecting it. It's just because it's a public ledger. It's just out there. You're just out there. You know what I mean?
And that's why you could have as many wallets as you want. So you could do the old switcheroo. They'll never know.
Right.
Oh, you only use one wallet for the dildos. Use another wallet.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They do like it's called chain analysis. Like chain analysis. There's like forensic companies that will they do like a lot of like data modeling, and they're like, how many wallets have been created and how much like. There's all these graphs you could generate based on like different metrics. So it's like how many wallets have been created in the past 30 days? When was the last time coins have moved? Like how old are these wallets? Like, and it like you could actually glean information like market data from that, which is fascinating. There's this guy, what's his name? It's his website's called Woobull, WOOBULL.com. His last name's Wu. I forgot his first name, but he kills it with the data analysis. It's insane. He's able to do the mining metrics and like relating it to price and stuff, and it's really gives you an interesting view into like the value, like what's the current value. Then you have all sorts of it gets crazy with the trading of it stuff, you know, because it is so volatile. Like it was like 10 grand a few months ago, then it was like $3,800 a few weeks ago. Now it's at $6,800. It's just going all over the place.
I'll tell you that the lolly one, like our friends Heather and Mike, they buy a lot of stuff for their dog from Chewy.com.
Yep.
That's one of them. Like you can buy stuff from Chewy and get
sick.
There's so many things that like when I started going through the list, I'm like, there's probably only like 20. There's thousands of companies of stuff that like you buy all the time that are, it's interesting that they're returning it in Bitcoin. Like they're already invested in it.
Right. Or it could be Lolly. It could be like, they could be the intermediate step. Like they're like, they say to those companies, hey, if we send, almost like affiliate program with Amazon. It's like, if we send you business or we put business through, right, you're going to kick us back. And they're actually converting it into the Bitcoin and sending it to you. That's their hook. Because it sounds like Ibotta. Do you know about that?
I don't.
It's another similar thing. My wife uses, it's like kind of coupons and shit. So you basically scan your receipt and then you get money back through Ibotta. You know, it sounds just like Lolly, but they're doing that through Bitcoin, which is great.
That's like, yeah, that's like Honey. Honey is another one of those that does it too. All right, okay. Ibotta? Is it like Ibotta?
Yeah, kind of, but it's spelled like I. I swear I did it. It's right here in the chain analysis. I know those are your keys, buddy. It's the IBOTTA, but it is like Ibotta.
I've been looking at a lot of those because of there's a it's like getting the mail where you get all the various coupons. There's so many things out there to get money back that people aren't taking advantage of. So I'm trying to just spread it out a little bit, maybe sign up for a bunch of them and see what happens, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's like, why not? Like with the credit cards that are going to give you 1.5% cash back or 2 or 3%, like why not do it, you know?
I'm trying to I guess they all they definitely know about each other though, because you can't do. I've tested a little bit trying to get to do the Rakuten and the Lolly at the same time, but one of them kicks out the other one. You know, I don't know if there's a way to
Oh wow, the double spend in full effect.
Well, they don't let you do it that way for some reason, but I think it's because once you click on it to say do the rebate, I think it's like what you're saying. There's like a broker in between, so they block the program from doing it.
Yeah, there's going to be whole industry. I mean, they're coming now. I mean, it's happening. The whole industry is built up around this stuff.
I like the idea of. I mean, the intention. The reason I keep bringing up the bat one is just because me especially, I watch so many YouTube videos and help generate the traffic and the you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
totally.
We're doing this work or going on Facebook or Twitters of the world and stuff like that. They don't exist without us contributing to it and putting all the money in, and like the content creators and all that stuff. Like they don't exist without that, but we get nothing in return for it, and they want to charge us for it. So if I'm not clicking likes or it's not getting the extra views and all that stuff. So all that should add up. You should always get like a little bit back for what we're doing, contributing to the hive,
100%. Like I agree, and it's just because of like a lot of the current models are based on old models and paradigms. It's not like there yet, but yeah, it's going to change.
Andrew to start paying us, bat tokens for watching Totally Local.
I want to get paid in Raven coin.
There's too many, man. It's too many.
Yeah, the speculation's nuts. Like it's just insane, and then you have to realize like. There's like, and I didn't know this when I first got involved. There's all this like behind the scenes deal making going on, like market making, and like I'll keep the price at this level, and so the whoever X, Y, or Z will sell it to this JoJo individual, like a huge lot of coins, and then
that's a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing. Like I'll follow, like you were talking about. Beatrice?
Finance.
Yeah, that one. So I started following them, and then you see like on Twitter, and then you see like all the various people that work in it, and so I just started following like kind of randomly, and then I'll get rid of whoever's making nonsense or not. But you can tell that there's if someone's got 400,000 followers and they say buy this thing today, you can see things jump a little bit. So there's There's definitely some influence going on with some of them. I don't necessarily like that part of it, that you can put a couple tweets out there and you've changed the price of something. That part's a little weird to me. But
right. That's why that I'm like, all right, Bitcoin's the one. It's like I'm 100% all in because it's so massive and distributed. You can't do that with a couple tweets. I mean, that's why the hard fork happened. Like it was like they're like no. They're like, no. And everyone's like, yeah, I want it this way. 2 megabyte blocks instead of 1 megabyte. And they're like, no. And so the other people are like, all right, we're out of here. And they're like, it's fine. And the end users didn't care. We were all like, double coins, we're like, do it. you know, because everyone's like, if that happens, the whole project, if the experiment's gonna fail, and everyone's like, fuck it. Like, if it's not strong enough to get through that, then fuck it. And like, I was like, yeah, fuck it. And I was on the side of like, I didn't know, I was just getting into it. I was like, why are these guys making such a stink out of this? And like, the guy's named Roger Ver. He owns the domain name Bitcoin.com, but he pushes Bitcoin Cash, and like, there is definitely a level of like, confusion or obfuscation. Yeah, and that's just like, he's like, we're the real Bitcoin, and that's fine.
There's a very recent like 30-minute Vice show. I'm spacing on the name, but they're talking about guys that are stealing people's SIM cards.
Yes, sir.
If you watch it, it's kind of crazy. So they show that they're stealing the SIM cards, and then they basically go in and they steal everyone's money, and then they convert it into Bitcoins. And they show this scene from a courtroom where the guy's getting put in jail for 2-3 years, and they're reading he's guilty, he's going to jail, he paid back a little bit of money, and then the prosecutor's reading the quotes, and he goes, but it doesn't matter, because when he gets out of jail, he's going to have $5 million in Bitcoins. And you see like the people in the back that are like, whatever, they're there on drug charge, and everyone's faces like explodes, whatever. And then they flash to him later, and he's like, he goes, I don't want to do 2 years, but I'll do the 2 years, and nobody's taking my money. They can't get it. You know, like those kind of things. So there still needs to be, I think, a little bit better, a better way, I don't know, a better way of protecting it, or maybe calling out the people that are doing the nefarious things, you know, like dark web shit, buying, you know, the bad stuff with it, you know, they're
right. But it's like,
I was going to say dildos again, Andrew, but there's probably one.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, in all of these instances, it's never like Bitcoin that failed. It's like
people.
It's the people, and like just bad coders and like bugs. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, you know, you're gonna have bad shit happening in the world anyway. Like, you know, you can't, like, even if they wanted to stifle this or shut it down, they like basically can't. And like, cases like that just prove it, and it just makes you be like, all right, I have to be really careful. Like not having like I disconnected my phone number from Google and like all that shit, you know.
He's gonna go buy some Bitcoin right now.
He got his delivery. His lolly just showed up. 5 dildos for the price of one.
I had my balcony door open, and it started to get windy.
That's the deal, man.
But the on that Vice episode too, the main guy that they interview is worth, his whole existence is to steal people's, you know, steal all of their SIM cards, but he's, you know, he's worth 20, 30, 40 million dollars, and like no one's ever, you know, again, blackface, the voice all muted, they're like,
yeah,
find me, you know, like
I remember in the 90s there was this show, Peter Jennings, it was called Peter Jennings Pot of Gold, and it was all about these growers in like BC, British Columbia, and they had the whole deal, same thing. They're like, yeah, I get locked up and then I get out. I'll just grow another crop, man. We used to love that show. We had it on tape and shit. No, but so like, yeah, like that, you know, in that instance, it's the fucking phone companies. Like, they're the weak link. Like, you shouldn't be able to fucking, you know, have them do it, like call in someone's shit over the phone and like get the swap the SIM cards or whatever. Like, some dude lost like $11 million not too long ago. He just got.
Well, they talked about how they were getting in through like, and I would have to watch it again. I've been, obviously with all this free time, I've probably been watching too many things and not quite but they're they're figuring out who people are from like Fortnite and video. Like, they're going in that way in the virtual world, and they're sort of like, they just kind of like appear in whatever I don't know that world enough to say it, but it's crazy. They're going like this sort of this back way of finding who you are through getting into your virtual game.
Right. Or, I mean, it comes down to simple things too. Like, if they know who you are and they know your phone number And then they call Verizon. They're like, oh, I need to temporarily switch my number to whatever. And they do it. And then then they go in to log into Coinbase and like, oh, I forgot my password. Or they start with Google. So like Gmail. So they'll like go into Gmail. Oh, I forgot my password. It's like, oh, I'll send it to your phone. Then they get the phone. Boom. Once they're in Gmail, they're like Coinbase, Kraken. They're like all the exchanges or don't have. That's why you need to not have your shit on exchanges even, unless you're trading or whatever.
So keep it on the wallet and then move it when you plug it in when you want to do something, and then unplug it when you're.
Yeah, you could even leave it plugged into your computer because there's however the tech works. It could only go one way. Like it can't get to your private keys basically, but you could send transactions. But yeah, like say you're trading. At the end of the day, like this stuff happens so fast. It's not like ACH or like a wire transfer. It's like, oh, I'm trading. All right, it's 5 o'clock. I'm going to call it a day. You just take your coins, type in no, you don't type it. You copy and paste always. Pro tip: never try to type out your key, dude, because one wrong thing or a capital letter, gone. No, your money's gone. You're sending it to someone else.
You said in the original message when we were talking about this, there's Ledger and Trezor.
Yeah, and there's Trezor, Ledger, and there's one called the Keep Key is a new one.
And those are pretty like reputable.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to do some shady like have some backdoor like software in there. There was a problem when I was first getting my hardware wallet. There was some like because Ledger and Trezor were the two main ones, so they were competitors. There was some hack that this teenage kid did with the Trezor where he was able to do something to get access to it, and it like freaked me out enough to be like, oh fuck that, I'm going with Ledger. And but Trezor fixed it like immediately, whatever it was. So yeah, there's reputable as could be. And if you don't trust that shit, you could just generate like for the kids at home, there's a website. It's called bitaddress.org, bitaddress.org. You could go there and just like what you do is you go to bitaddress and it's a JavaScript. It's a client side, whatever. It's JavaScript. So you basically generate a pair, a public, a private key pair. And so you go there, turn your disconnect from the internet, and then the page is still there, and you move your mouse around all randomly, and then it like a bar fills up till it's at 100%, and then it generates the public and private key, and also private. There's a QR code and a string of characters, and you could just print that paper wallet out, close the page, and then reconnect to the internet, and like you have a paper wallet. So like that's another way. Like because you do like I think like at this point it's like nothing's 100%, so you want to kind of balance out like where your shit is,
Yeah.
Like my one friend he has all three hardware wallets, and like I'm not at that level at all because I don't really have that much, but like I have a paper wallet if all else fails with a little on it, and then my hardware wallet that has my other stuff.
So I can go into Gemini and make a paper wallet?
No, you would need like you would need a paper wallet generator. So like at bitaddress, there's a few, but bitaddress.org.
I got you.
Gemini is just going to give you. They'll generate a wallet for you, but they know they're only giving you they're not giving you the private key. They're only giving you the public key. So it's like it's their wallet. It's their coins until you get your shit off of there. That's why I don't trust exchanges really either, because like in the beginning, like I didn't really understand that like the shit's so manipulated. Like the exchanges wanted people to go there. So there's a lot of wash trading where they would just be like trading back and forth amongst themselves just to make it seem like the exchange was doing a shit ton of volume, and it just wasn't. That's another reason why I like Coinbase is because like I know that like a lot of people are using it. Coinbase Pro. Gemini is actually better, to be honest with you. Like, I don't even know how I got wrapped up in Coinbase Pro. It's like you just get used to the interface, really.
But you have to pay something for Coinbase Pro?
No, it's free. It used to be called GDAX, and then it just turned into Coinbase Pro. And even like Gemini, like see these things are evolving every day. Like Gemini, this makes total sense. This is how I wound up at Coinbase Pro. which used to be called GDAX. It was a different platform that Coinbase bought. I was on Gemini, and they only had the basic functionality like regular Coinbase. So you could just buy and sell market orders, and there was all these fees involved, and they would screw you. They wouldn't give you the price that it was at. They'd give it to you a higher price because they're constantly, whenever you're doing a transaction, they're like middlemaning the shit out of that transaction. Like, oh, we could buy the coins over here cheaper. We're selling to him more expensive. Like, they're never going to lose, and they're charging you fees too.
Yeah.
So I was on Gemini. I was like, this sucks. Like, it should be like stock trading where there's limit orders, stop losses, all that shit. And they only had buy and sell. I was like, fuck you, Gemini. I knew why they were doing it. It's the same reason. So then I was like, I'm going to GDAX. And so like I started doing my shit there because I could put limit orders in and stop losses and like do real trading. But now Gemini has gotten that functionality as well. They built it out over like 2018, 2019. So you could go into Gemini. If you want, you click on active trader and it changes the interface. So you go from the basic to the more complex like interface.
I'm not even in that world yet. I'm not even. I want to get the hard wallet first before I actually get into that. So, in case
yeah, like honestly,
so bad.
like honestly, like to get into the trading side of it, it's like I wouldn't even like I don't even know if I would even. I couldn't even recommend doing that to anyone because it'll drive you insane, like insane, like. Crazy.
Well, we got a lot of free time right now. This would be the time to sort of figure that stuff out until.
Yeah, I mean it's great. Like I'm so thankful and grateful that I've gotten the hang of it because now I could ride the waves and like buy. Like last night, like an hour, I made like $60 just trading Litecoin. Just like I was like, I saw the setup, I saw what was going on, and I was just like, all right, cool, let's go. And like I'm pretty cool about it now. When I first started, I'd be like screaming at my phone, why are you doing this to me? And like it's just like, dude, that's just the market, man. It's like a raging river. So if you're gonna jump in it, you just gotta be able to like swim upstream, man. But now I'm like,
how's the
okay,
trading going, man?
Dude, it's so killer. And like everything I learned in like I read this book over the holidays at Christmas time. I got for Christmas. It's called Trading in the Zone. And it's just basically, it's not anything to do with crypto. It's just about trading, like the psychology of trading in markets and like whatever stocks or whatever. And like I finally had the breakthrough. Like I knew all the mechanics and the indicators and like the patterns and like everything, like the candles and the gravestone doji or like the Marabozu candle. Like I knew all that, like the stuff. But I was like, why isn't this working? What's wrong with me? And it was my psychology was completely wrong. Like I was thinking about it and approaching the whole thing wrong. And the book broke down how like the average Joe, like what you would think and how you have to be totally counterintuitive to what you would think. And it was like a light bulb went off. I'm like, all right, let me try this. And I started doing trades and they would work and I wouldn't lose money. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. It just gave me the confidence to look at on my laptop. I have this the sticky note, dude. Patience, because that's like you need so much patience to be like.
Are you basically employing like typical stock market kind of way? It's like the same thing. It's just Bitcoin, but it's.
Yeah, and dude, it's great because because the crypto markets never close. They're running 24/7. So like I have alerts up. I used to wake up in the middle of the night in like a sweat because I'd be in the middle of a trade. Because like literally you see these videos that are kind of like spoof videos, but like you see the green candles going up and the guy's getting all excited, and then all of a sudden it's like a red candle. It's just like in like 1 minute, it's like woo, like goes all the way down. You're like, what? Like so like I'd be in the middle of a trade. I wake up in a cold sweat, like checking my phone, like obsessively, like it wasn't really healthy at all. And like but the cool thing about it was since it trades 24/7, like it's like everything's moving at the speed of light. Like you have to just be so on top of your game. So I recently got into trading the stock market after this crash, and like it's like slow motion wiffle ball. I'm like, yeah, baby, like keep it coming. Like I've been making trades and like having success. Like I did my first short trade like last week. I shorted Live Nation. I was like, oh, they're fucked. They're not putting on any concerts. They're gonna have no revenue. perfect. So
Did
I
you
looked
hear
at
what, did you hear what Ticketmaster just released about not refunding postponed shows?
Oh, fuck!
That came out today, and Twitter is blowing up over that. Like, Ticketmaster said that they're no longer doing any refunds of postponed shows.
Oh,
and there's people like losing their minds because obviously, like, you put in a whole lot of money for various things and no refund.
Oh, no refund. See, that's another use of blockchain right there. There could be like a Tiki coin. It's just like the value. It's just there. Like you just would translate it to another show or something.
Well, there's someone that Andrew and I know that Andrew was helping her out with her website, but his friend was doing in the medical world. There's a lot of billing that goes on between obviously all sorts of things, right? So labs and doctors and patients and insurance companies, and he set up an exchange or a system where if you use his payment portal, all the companies that would use his payment portal, and there's so many transactions that go on, he was going to return it in cryptocurrencies. So there's a couple interesting theories to that. So you move so much data between, so say like lab, doctor, insurance company, hospital. Those four things are constantly exchanging things of value. And I mean, excuse me, there could be 10,000 various transactions per day or even more depending on the size of your business. So he's trying to figure out a way to gain the value of his coin is through all those transactions. So the same thing as a stock market exchange changes. There's value in what's going on for the things moving around. So there's people talking about trying to develop generating value, like I guess add a layer to a market, but every time the transaction goes back and forth, that's a percentage of a cryptocurrency. That's a percentage of a cryptocurrency. To give it value, to raise value in what the currency actually is. And there's a lot of businesses that do that. B2B transactions that happen through EDI systems, warehousing. Like if you're
right,
if I'm Walgreens and I'm ordering a bunch of stuff from the main warehouse, there's all these transactions going on. So that's how they're saying, where's the value in these actual coins? Well, there's the value that's backing it up right there. So some of that's
totally
interesting too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the data, like the future, the data is the currency for sure.
Guys, I'm gonna hop off though. This was good. There's a lot of information, but I'm actually pretty beat.
All right. Well, check back in anytime.
It's a lifestyle, man. Crypto.
I don't know if I'm ready for the lifestyle yet, but we're getting it.
Lambos, baby. All right, guys. Well, guess what?
I'm gonna send you the PDF too on that, just because the first couple pages are a good read.
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right, guys. Totally local after dark. Check us out. Do a little dance, guys. Remember? Once again.